Hi, this is Shadi, and I hope you are all spending good holiday time with your family and friends and loved ones. And today we are going back to the complete judoka. Last time we tried to create the complete judoka with the stand-up, particularly the most popular throws, and try to compose the complete judoka. And today it's going to be the same but for Ne Waza, but it's going to be a little bit more complex. You see, judo's Ne Waza is just not the best armbar or the best choke, etc., because it comes from the standing. There's just so much that goes into it, and also rather very quickly. People say that judo is just often a transition and then you lock an armbar, but that alone requires great skill and mastery. It's not just from starting on your knees and then get dominant position and then finish. That's just what we do in like the club. But from the standing, in order to transition to a Ne Waza, it takes a lot of skill, because as you are transitioning, or before you even transition, you have to get that upper hand, and then as you go down, you just have to go and finish. And even the finish, rolling over, turning over, etc., takes a lot of skill. So it's going to be a little bit detailed and a lot of honorable mentions. The first one is the turn over, attacking the turtle. At first, I was gonna give it to Mark Hausinga for his Hausinga roll, or his Hizagatame Gaeshi, but it's something that he came up with, I believe, the last 2 years of his competitive career, around 2007. But I decided to give it to someone else simply because of the variety and also the little tricks sprinkled within it. I'm actually gonna give it to Hiroyuki Akimoto for his, what we call the Akimoto roll. The Akimoto roll is actually called Shibayama Tate Gaeshi, very much inspired from the Asano Gaeshi, which we'll see later. But why I give it to Akimoto, the first part is that there is a trick here. For example, after he launches with that Sumi Gaeshi, he actually traps his own leg as a trick in order to really distract his opponent from, paying attention to what's happening on the upper body, to just really keep that attention on the leg, because they think they're stalling, and gets the mate, but in fact he's actually working on his underhook and overhook for the Kuzure Keiza Gatame. So that's what here, for example, he gets the grips and then frees his leg in order to really establish a good osaikomi once that leg is actually freed. Another point why it is the best, in my opinion, turnover, because it allows to finish in many osaikomis, not just like Hausinga in the Hizagatame, but actually Keizagatame, Tateshiogatame, Yokoshiogatame, so on and so forth. Let's see its predecessor, what we call the Asano Geishi, or also Harazu Tsumi. Here we see it from the old Kozen archives. Kanae, Hirata, and many others were very famous for it. Here, that's like a big Sumigaeshi. You free the leg and just finish in Yoko Shio Gatame. But with Akimoto, there's the entrapment of the leg, also getting different hooks in order to finish with all sorts of pins. Not here, for example, you see him finish in Yoko Shio Gatame. Before, we saw him finish with Keizagatame. Here we see, for example, not only just from the turtle, but also the flattened out opponent that he wants to really make it hard on their opponent to turn them over. So this is why I really like the Akimoto roll. It is very simple. It reverts back to the basics, but also there's just so much you can do with it. Here you can finish with also Tateshiogatame, or the mount. Honorable mentions, of course, Uran Teteg Munkbat from Mongolia. She has, I believe, a great Hausinga roll, and also Sankaku Gatame, how she gets the triangle from the turtle and keeps on rolling. And also here the Hausinga roll as well. Former world champion in the 48. Here we see again, and gets the tap as well. Another honorable mention is Funa Tonaki. Funa Tonaki is favorite Ne Waza technique is Harazu Tsumi, and also here we see another role, but into Kansetsuwaza. So, and also Akimoto is the one that's coaching the female team Japanese female team, so hence why they're very good in turnovers as well. Another great honorable mention is Shori Amada. What she did in Dusseldorf last year of 2020, or this year of 2020, it was a 2.5 minute match. It was all Ne Waza. It's available on the IGF channel. Another honorable mention, Jessica Klimkate. Another great housing role. Also gets the tap on it with it a lot, but also gets the Osaikomi with it a lot. Here is from Osaka of 2019. She gets the tap. Look at the arm all stretched out to the back. Looks absolutely painful. Now let's go to Osaikomi. Who has the best pins? I believe it's Kashiwazaki. Kashiwazaki has a book on everything that has to do with Osaikomi. And everything that has to do with it, like Asano Gaishi, even the Akimoto roll, etc. It's all coming or stemming from him in a sense. Also the guard passes once you watch him, and all the varieties and how to keep someone down around the world. All these little tips and tricks that even Akimoto teaches in his seminars, they all come from this man here, Katsuhiko Kashiwazaki. So I have to differentiate between the roll and the pin itself, because the roll can get a submission like we saw with Tanaki, but the pin and how to maintain it is something else, and Kashiwazaki knew how to do that precisely. So he is a great Ne Waza artist for a reason. Another honorable mention is this retired Olympic medalist, Ami Kondo of Japan, how she gets down from under them and gets the pin. The other reason why is I'd say around 95% of her wins are all Osaikomi and how to maintain them. Now let's go to Kansetsuwaza, and like I said, the transition is key in this video, and I would also give it to Katsuhiko Kashiwazaki for his great transitions, not just from like a tomoenage as you see here, but also his flying armbar, the Tobi Juji Gatame. I don't think anyone of this is absolute beauty. Let's see it again. Here, just wraps it like a Yoko tomoenage, goes to like completely to the other side and then gets it. This is absolute gold. I don't think anyone of his generation produced anything near this, even the ones before, especially with the stand-up going to the ground. People like Oda, etc., they all started from Ne Waza or from guard pass, like a drag or toreando, and then going. But him, he was also a throwing or a nagewaza artist that transitioned into Ne Waza, so there wasn't anyone like him, and he's the last remaining, I believe, like Ne Waza master with so much record or teachings that he has left with his books, and here his videos as well. Kashiwazaki, Osaikomi, even turnovers. Last time I also talked about his Sutemi, everything. Like, you can basically give all this video to him, but of course we'd have to be a little bit more, not only fair to the others, but also just changing things up a little bit. Here we see Osaikomi, and honorable mention of Kansetsu. Of course, it's Briggs and Neil Adams. Neil Adams, the Budokai, also taught by Kashiwazaki, one of the best in turnovers in order to get Kansetsuwaza. Like I said, turnovers are not just for pins. Here you see fighting for it and eventually gets it. Here turns over a few times actually. Now we call this the Ronda Rousey roll. Here we see gets it a young Neil Adams, two-time Olympic silver medalist and world champion, an absolute genius tactician, Neil Adams. And finally, after long battle and rolls, gets the Juji Gatame. Just absolutely amazing. Now, when it comes to Shimewaza, I give it to Flavio Canto of Brazil, Olympic bronze medalist. Like I said, the transition is very crucial. It's not just getting dominant position and choking. That's okay. That's takes a lot of skills, but getting it from the stand-up, not only you'd have to be good in stand-up, but also explosive and very, just, how do you say, fast, and just overall knowing what to do, because anything can go wrong, especially when you are transitioning from standing to the bottom. You can easily get passed and pinned or even submitted. So people like ridicule Judo's way of getting to Ne Waza. It's just the transition. There's no like how do you say, long processes like BJJ, but it's actually the most dangerous and the most high risk to reward, in my opinion. And just the Ne Waza Randori, we just do it in class, not necessarily in competition, but the transitions are very special to Judo as well. So I'd give the Shimewaza to Flavio Canto for not only being so fast and swift, but also making this choke very much popular and calling it Canto because of him. So this is hence why he's very famous for his Shimewaza. So honorable mentions, Kosei Inoue. Kosei Inoue had a little detailed trick for his Shimewaza. That's actually like a wrist flick in order to get it underneath their chins. Those heavyweights, very big heavyweights, choking them and also using their attacks against them. Here, boom. Chikarauli gets the tap with Okuri Eri Jime. Hooks the legs and get it. So the flick of the lapel, especially when they close their chin down, how he gets it underneath them. Here, let's see it. Here, he's trying to go for, I believe, Serenage. And boom, here it is, and gets the choke. Just an absolutely massive man submits him. And here, let's see it again in slow motion, just to see the little trick in it that makes it really cool. Here, he goes down for Serenage. In a way, his hand is already on the lapel, but his hand is on his face, actually. He does like a wrist flick here and gets the lapel underneath the neck, and then proceeds to grab the wrist and chokes him for the ippon. So he was a Tachiwaza man, but his Ne Waza, this particular choke was absolutely genius of him for this particular detail. And of course, he was taught by the great Yasuhiro Yamashita, also attacking turtles and failed attacks, and gets what we call the clock choke in the West, but it is just Okuri Eri Jime, or sliding collar strangle. So here gets it very similar to Inoue. Here in the Los Angeles Olympics, also wins. One of his greatest achievements was the Los Angeles Olympics, and also won one of his matches with the Okuri Eri Jime. Final honorable mention of today's age is Krista De Gucci. That swift transition is just amazing. Here, check it out. Boom, already the choke was locked in, gets the legs rather quickly, gets the tap. Here we see, so she already has good Tachiwaza from that Ochigari, good control, good Kumikata, grip fighting. All this can transition also to good Ne Waza and gets the tap. Here we see her at the World Championship attacking the turtle and gets the Okuri Eri Jime. So one of the best Ne Waza artists of today, I would say, is Krista De Gucci. Gets it here. It became like a Kanto choke with the leg and the hand, like a scissor Hasami Jime. So one final example, as also against Jessica Klimkate, gets to choke, wraps the legs, hooks the leg, grabs her own lapel and proceeds to choke. Her face is turning blue from the choke. Absolutely just brutal. So this was mainly it. Like I said, picking just one will not be fair, so honorable mentions were very much a must in this video, and there are quite a few. So transitioning, going from the stand-up, etc., all these make Judo very unique in terms of Ne Waza, and Judo still has very unique Ne Waza, even though there are stuff like Sambo, BJJ, catch, etc. The Ne Waza of Judo will always remain special or unique, just for the fact that it comes from Tachiwaza, and a lot of them, except for Sambo, are just not that good of takedown artists. That's just a fact. So this is why it tends to get so unique and so exciting and explosive, and directly translates to control on the ground with the choke or the turnover or whatever it may be. So if you have anything else to add, let me know down below. Also, consider supporting me on Patreon. I have exclusive content for the patrons only, and I wish you all happy holidays and a good time with your family and friends. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.